podcast listeners. This is Ed Franklin with the Ed Franklin No Limits podcast. Every time I start one of these podcasts, I tell you how you can get a hold of me, and you should know by now. But if you want to email me, it's edfranklin.nolimits@gmail.com. You can visit my new website, which is www.edfranklinnolimits, all one word.com. I'm still doing some work on it. It's not under construction, but it's always getting better, hopefully. Um, you can always call me too, or go to my social media platforms and get a hold of me if you'd like to. If you have a guest, you'd like to be a guest, you want to respond to this podcast, that'd be great. If you do watch this podcast on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. It's very easy. It's one little button. And of course, like normal, I'll put clips on all my social media platforms. So today's podcast, it's a podcast that I hate to do. I do not like negativity. I like positivity all the time. But I'm going through a situation right now, along with a lot of other people. Um, and we're going to talk about the situation I'm going through right now. But I'd much rather do a podcast on how great everything is. But unlike most people on social media, you get the bad with the good with me. So that's what we're going to do. So, as many of you know, I posted online that I'm looking for work. And I'm going to talk about those frustrations that I'm up against right now, for a lot of different reasons. And I don't want to sound like I'm whining. It's just what it is in 2025. And this job market is very tough right now, not only for people my age, but for people in general. The way they take information in, the way we're putting information out. AI's become AI is great. I've talked about AI in one of my past podcasts, but it can also cause a lot of problems, and it's causing problems in the workforce too. If you are watching this, I changed my lighting a little bit, and I think it looks good, but I don't know if you care. You probably don't care. You probably don't want to look at me anyway. But if you do and you don't think the lighting's good or it could be changed, just let me know. Lighting's very important when you're on camera like this, and I try to do my best. So I'll start out by this. So yesterday I posted something online about basically what my goal was to find other job seekers that are frustrated, that are struggling, that are having a hard time finding things, that are getting kicked out because of AI, and your resume is not perfect, doesn't have the right keywords or whatever the bullshit is that they tell you is wrong. And I kind of felt like I haven't got a lot of response to it. I think that people think I'm trying to sell them something. And I know why that is. You know that I'm also trying to start a sales lab, basically a sales training company where I go into a sales. I don't have a cookie cutter sales strategy. What I would do is go into a company, kind of ask a lot of questions, and then tailor a sales program for them. I'm also interested in doing public speaking. So as I put that out on online, on social media, of course, I get every ad, every sales pitch, every person in the world that wants to show me how to get speaking engagements, or show me how to, um, if they can help me with their business or help me with my podcast and get more likes and more views and all these things. And I use AI to help me with all those things, by the way. I use AI quite a bit. Um, but it's funny, there's one guy that comes on, I won't mention the company, but he says, he made 1.67 million a month doing sales speaking all over the world. And now he's going to show you how to do it. And all it's going to cost you is blah, 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 blah. And I actually sat through his webinar and listened to him. And he had made some good points. He didn't make any different points than I would have made. But of course, at the end of the webinar, he's slashing his prices for his training program. So if he's making $1.67 million a month speaking, and he's selling 20 of these things a month, it's a lot less than 1.67 million. So you see where I'm going with that. The other thing with this job search is I'll put out a resume and I'll get companies that want to rewrite my resume for me. So I've rewritten this resume probably 10 times in the last, I don't know, 6 months, 2 years, whatever. They have what they call an ATS score, and when that resume will tell you what, if you have all the right keywords and you have all the things you need, and it gives you a score from 1 to 100. And I got my ATS score up to 81, which was really good. And then, of course, another company comes and tells me my test score or my ATS score is at 40. The worst part of that is on LinkedIn, you'll get these, and I'm sure anybody who's in the same situation I'm in right now is getting this, where someone will text you and connect with you and tell him that, you have a really impressive resume and you have a lot of experience. And oh, by the way, I have somebody that can help you rewrite your resume and get your ATS score up. And here's their contact information. Just go to Fiverr and they'll do this for you. Well, these are scams, by the way, which I had to learn a couple of times. I didn't get scammed, but I looked it up on the internet, and of course, it talks in LinkedIn, and it says no, these don't fall for these scams. They're trying to scam you. They're trying to get information, banking information, whatever. And it's real shitty that someone would do that when the guy's down on his luck, when he's not, or girls down on their luck and they're looking for work. And here come these scammers in there um, you know, to get money from you when you don't have the money and you're just trying to find work. So I know that many of you, like I said, if you're looking for work right now, the frustration level and the confidence level is so high. Confidence is low, frustration's high. And because you're qualified for these jobs that they're putting out online, and you look at the descriptions and they're usually written by AI. I actually went in and put in AI and said, I'm looking for a salesperson. This is what, I put a couple things in there and it wrote me this whole description, which I've read these descriptions on Indeed and ZipRecruiter and LinkedIn and Monster Jobs and all these different job boards. I don't even think half these people are really hiring. I don't know what the situation is, but I'm constantly getting kicked out. Getting not picked for a position that I know I'm qualified for. Um, and it's either age, it's their thought that maybe I'm not technical enough, which is not true either. And all these things. Of course, they never tell you it's age, but I just filled out an application. I'll tell you this 5 minutes ago, right before this podcast started. And I went through Indeed and did all the application things you normally do. And then it asked me to go to their website and kind of not reapply, but answer some more questions. So they're asking you about your gender and your disability status and your veteran status and what nationality you are and all these things. And this particular one asked for my age, and it would not let me get past the age thing without filling that in. And I can't lie about it. I mean, I look my age, I think, or I hope I look younger, but it still doesn't matter. If I look over 50, I'm screwed. So that was an interesting one that they asked for my age. And a couple times, I didn't think that was legal to do. Probably it's illegal. It's probably just not ethical. But I don't think they care, obviously, if they ask my age on this one. And this has happened a few other times. Um, I think the overqualified thing lends itself to this person's going to want too much money. And, this AI is making us really lazy because we're not connecting. We're not connecting with a person. We're not hiring a person. We're hiring a piece of paper. And I'm not a professional resume writer, and never claimed I would be a professional resume writer. I'm a professional salesman. I have been doing that for a long time. I've been a professional leader, and but if there's two words missing out of your resume, you're not going to get it. It's not going to get anywhere. So you have this group of people, in my opinion, that are looking at your resume and they're using AI to determine if your resume is worthy or not. Well, that's ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. And I got to tell you, I'm so angry that I can't get past these certain things. I'm sitting a little too close to the camera. And it's just, I had a list of things, these constant ads I get. The AI is just, like I said, making people lazy because they're just running it through a machine and it's just kicking you out. I'll tell you a story. When I was working at Pepsi years ago, they would get, when they advertised for a job, they'd get 100, 200, 300 resumes. And this could be just for a job for a driver. Wouldn't even have to be, it's not even a management or sales job, just a driver. And I was talking to the HR person one time, and she said that the first thing she'd do is get rid of all the resumes that were colored. Like if they were blue, remember back in the day, we used to actually send a physical resume in, and we had pink paper and blue paper and yellow paper, whatever. She would take all the colored ones and throw them away, wouldn't read them at all. So she was just trying to narrow down to get enough readables where she could read maybe, 50 resumes. Now, obviously, that's the most ridiculous thing is to get rid of a resume because of the color of the paper. But I understand, and I understand these jobs are getting, there's so many people out of work right now that these jobs are getting they're just getting in thousands of resumes sometimes for these positions. On LinkedIn, when you apply for a job, it'll tell you how many applicants there are. Well, if they keep the job open too long, then the application number goes up, right? And it's just the most frustrating thing. I and a lot of my friends are in the same boat. So this ad that I ran and I was talking about when I started, it was about was networking. I mean, we've all done networking in the past, if you're in sales especially, and you go to these groups, and I was very successful at networking. And all I'm trying to do is get a group of people that are in the same boat I am so we can talk to each other and see if there's any way we can help each other. I had a young man today contact me and said, I'm really, or last night, and he said, I'm really interested in getting to be part of this. And lo and behold, I know somebody that could help him out. So I introduced them on LinkedIn. And I do that quite a bit. I get people all the time that I meet, and I try to link them up with other people so they can be more successful. I get people that call me, ask me about plumbers or, any electricians, anything you can think of. Since I ran the chamber for a few years and I grew up here in San Diego, I know a lot of people in these spaces. And a lot of them are still working. They're not retired yet. They have companies, and I'll do everything I can to introduce people. I'm not feeling the love from my friends and my connections that I've had over the years. And it started with COVID, to be honest with you. As COVID started getting, ramping up, obviously we couldn't go networking anymore because we couldn't be in a room with a bunch of people. And what I found is a lot of those people that used to do networking just never started it up again. They either were in a job where they didn't need to, which is ridiculous because we all need to be interacting with people on a regular basis, especially in professional world. And but I can tell you that when I was networking through my last two positions, I could feel the numbers of people the numbers aren't there. A couple chambers do a really good job at getting a big group of people, and then sometimes it's almost too many. It's hard to go into a room with 180 people, 200 people, and be efficient at networking unless you know exactly what your target is and you know kind of who you're going to talk to when you get there. So I got to tell you, the level of frustration I'm at right now is so intense. You just now your confidence starts to wane. Right now, you're starting to go, man. All those years I did all that work, and I never thought I'd be in a position like this. In fact, I thought I'd be in a very easy position where I could pretty much do what I wanted to. That was our plan anyway, and has not been the case. So now you got to start thinking. You got to, and I do stay up on things technologically. But I have those skills, but they're hard to, it's hard to add that to a resume. I mean, now I have 3 pages of a resume. I have two now, and I've had to take some things off so I can, make myself look younger, I guess, at some level. I've had a few jobs. There's no doubt about it. After COVID, it was a rough go because people weren't hiring. The job that I was good at, I couldn't do because I had to be around a lot of people and they just wouldn't do it. So, yes, am I whining? I am a little bit. I am complaining a little bit, but I need a network of people that are in the same situation, and we need to get empowered. We need to figure out a way to get out to the right people. And the more people you can connect with, the better off you are. It's like in anything. So, I am looking for those connections, and I know that if you are listening to this podcast and you know somebody that might have a position open, I'm not looking for a recommendation. You probably don't know me that well, but an introduction is what I really need. And I want to help other people. I want to introduce people that I, in my network or this network that I can build, I want to introduce them to people that I might know that could help them. I had a person contact me recently that's in a sales job, and it's the typical owner of a smaller business that really doesn't understand sales and marketing. And what they're doing is they feel like, and I'm assuming this is what they feel like, that all this sales and marketing is just and this networking and all this grinding a person's doing. They just see money going out. They're not seeing it coming in as fast as they would like. And I understand that. And listen, every company wants to hire a salesman and have them hit the floor, run and just start selling stuff. But it doesn't work that way. I hate to tell you. It takes there's a process to it, and it takes a long time. They say it takes 8 to 12 times just for somebody to remember what you do after you meet them or remember your name. Thankfully, uh, my name's short. It's pretty easy to remember. I'm large. I have a lot of tattoos and things, so people kind of recognize when I walk into a room, and I can resonate a little quicker with them. But however, it takes a long time before people are willing to refer you or start to buy from you on a regular basis. So what they do is then they start micromanaging. They're saying, "Well, I have all these leads that I bought you. I have all this I did for you. I did this for you, and nothing's happening." It's because it takes a long time. It doesn't take 2 weeks. It doesn't take 6 months sometimes. Sometimes it takes up to a year. But what they'll do is they'll keep that person on, then get rid of them because they're not selling anything and start all over with another salesman. It's still going to take 6 months or a year. It's not going to magically change because you have a new person. I mean, if you hired a poor, a bad salesman that doesn't have any enthusiasm or any, doesn't get out there and grind, yes, maybe you're better off hiring someone else. But I don't generally find that that's the case. What I generally find is that they're putting up hurdles for salespeople that they can't that they're not helping them get over, and that's the job, in my opinion, of what the owner is supposed to be doing, and the sales manager or whoever's in charge of that salesperson should be doing everything they can to take down hurdles that these salesmen people can't get over. I did take some notes. I like I said, this is not my favorite podcast topic, and I'm really, I guess I'm kind of at the end of my rope at some level. But what are your choices? I can't quit looking. I can't quit grinding. I'm looking for ideas or ways to get to those employers personally. I've contacted people on LinkedIn. I've contacted people on Facebook. I've tried to get direct emails for people so I can, contact with them. I've asked people if they could introduce me. I'm not, like I said, I'm not feeling a lot of love from the friends I had out there and the connections I had that I dropped everything for when they asked me and went out there and did whatever I had to do. AI, if you don't use it on a regular basis or you don't, someone told me the other day they don't like change, so they're never going to get into AI. Well, AI is not going away. If you don't understand AI, think of encyclopedias when we were kids. And for you under, 30 years old, an encyclopedia was a book that had information in it that, let's say you wanted to look up the Grand Canyon, you would grab the encyclopedia that had the G words in it, and you would look up the Grand Canyon and tell you about it. Well, AI is just like that, except they've they have resources like a billion times more resources than an encyclopedia had. AI is not always right, by the way. I've asked questions on AI and got an answer that I absolutely know is not true. So uh, it's good for a lot of that. It helps me craft letters sometimes. Um, it helps me with my social media, how I'm going to address social media. Some of the things I put on social media are AI generated. They're doing the things and not they. AI is doing the things that they know that will resonate on social media. That could be hashtags and things like that. I actually was trying to locate some companies and emails and things like that. AI will not supply that. They might supply companies, but if the information's not public, which most of it isn't, if the size of company that I'm looking at, you're not going to get. You're still going to have to do the hard work and network and go on LinkedIn and Facebook and all those things, you're still going to have to do all that. It seems logical that you could put a application out, a resume, and you would get some interest depending on your experience, your level of experience and what you've done in the past. It's not logical. I got news for you. And somehow, as a group of people or personally, you're going to have to come up with a different way of getting to the right people. I feel like, too, that in my age group, most of the people that I know are starting to retire or they're thinking that's all they care about. They don't want to um, they don't want to do any more work. And then the people that are hiring age have no clue who I am. I'm just an old guy, right? That does whatever. So there's this real disconnect between employers and people looking for work. And it's every day I go on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn all day, social media all day, looking for, notes and hints and trying to connect with people. And I tell you, every day I'm on LinkedIn, there's more people losing their jobs. And they're not, and usually if you're on LinkedIn and you're involved in it, it'll say, congratulations on your new position. You don't see those very often anymore. What you're seeing is open to work, looking for yada, yada, yada. So I'm telling you, the economy be getting better. My economy is getting worse. And I really don't know what to do about it. I'm looking for answers. I'm looking for help. I'm looking for connections. I'm looking for all these things. And I guess maybe for once in my life, I'm really lost. I don't know where to turn at this point. Um, I yeah, I mean I'm banging my head against the wall to try to come up with something. The speaking thing, the sales lab thing, do I think they could succeed? Absolutely, 100% they could succeed, but not as fast as I need them to do. And I don't have the money to invest in the marketing and things like that. I'm pretty good at doing most of it, but I'm not reaching the people I need to reach either. So those are other asks I'm asking you. If you have an organization, a company that needs, a speaker to speak about an array of things. I mean, I have a lot of information in my head. I have a lot of stories to tell that are relevant stories that would help you, that these people move along, be motivated, be inspired, get over limitations like I try to do on this podcast. And as far as the sales lab goes, I'm telling you, it would be invaluable for a company with maybe 4 or 5 salespeople that are struggling a little bit. Instead of hiring a sales manager and his employee, they could hire me on a contract basis and I could help them with their sales. Now, this podcast is not a pitch for that. This podcast is to reach out to people that are frustrated like I am, looking for work, and for us to try to help each other, for us to try to network and, put a hand out. I was thinking the other day how when we were younger, before AI, before all this stuff, when I was in the grocery business, right coming out of high school, we had when we ordered groceries, we had to type a number in, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, enter, and then type 5 quantity and enter. Okay, so we had this box, and it was like the size of like an old walkie-talkie from World War II. And as things progressed, we started getting scanners, and we started getting all these tools that we could use to make things, expedite things. It's kind of what AI is doing, right? AI has all this thing. I have a thumb drive downstairs in my briefcase. It has 4 terabits on it. It's a thumb drive, for Christ's sake. I mean, this thing could run a small business for 30 years with 4 terabits. I mean, you couldn't, 30 years of invoices and bills and all this stuff, you couldn't. And this is a difference between encyclopedias versus what AI is doing for you now. So I would say that you should, if you don't know a lot about AI, you should get a book, get something, read about it. I'm looking for something I had here. Read about it, find out what it's good, where it's bad. It's not the end all. They can't replace salespeople with AI. I'm telling you, they can tell you that they can get you more leads and all these things, which I don't see that either. They might be able to find a company in the dirt where you don't know that company's there, but you still have to make contact with that company. And you can write emails with AI and do all those things and use keywords and all that stuff. But we'll never, ever be able to lose that personal touch, right? You can't run a you can't run a company with AI. You have to be able to communicate with your employees face to face, worse off, Zoom to Zoom, whatever. You have to be able to, you still got to be human. We still have NI, which is natural intelligence. We still need to use that. For these companies that are hiring because of keywords off of a resume, good luck. Because you don't know what you're getting. You might be getting this great. I mean, I could lie on my resume and get at least to an interview process. Of course, then I'd have to tell them I was lying because I couldn't, you know, live with that. And then they wouldn't hire me. But I can't even get to the interview process. I can't even get I mean, every day I have a list because I'm on unemployment, which is running out soon. I have a list, an Excel file that I have jobs that I applied for and jobs that I didn't get. And I highlight them in red when I don't get them. And I'm telling you, the page is turning red. And there's no logical reason why I'm not qualified for these jobs or I shouldn't get them. It's ridiculous. Um, so uh, I mean, I'm almost at a loss for words, which if you know me, that's very unusual for me to be at a loss of words. When I was helping this salesperson that was telling me about what she's going through right now with this small company, I, I've seen all this. I said some things to her, and she said, "Oh my God, it sounds like you were in a meeting." I said, "No, but I've been in those meetings before." I was working for a guy once that was doing $2.2 million a year. He's been in business 20 years, and he's doing 2.2 million. He tells me in the next 5 years he wants to get to 5 million, right? Over double where he was at. And I said, look, I don't want to insult you. I'm not trying to be difficult. It was the first day I was there. But I said, how are you going to get from 2.2 million to 5 million in 5 years if it took you 20 years to get 2 million? And he says, well, it's metrics. And I said, metrics. Show me, what are you talking about when you say metrics? So he pulls up the spreadsheet and it says, well, in order to get through to 2.2 million, these are the amount of salespeople we have. This is the amount of closing ratio they need to do. This is all those things. And if we just hire that many more people as sales reps, it'll double the business. I said, it won't. That sounds logical. It's just not logical. Understand that you've saturated the market already with salespeople, and you can't go outside your territory. So you're working the same businesses that you either got or you didn't get already. It's like when they're hiring these salespeople on LinkedIn, they go, well, we need you to come aboard. We're going to pay you this much, and you have 6 months to grow the business by 20%. How? There's never an answer of how. They just say, well, you just hire a salesman and he drives his car around. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. A salesman needs to be trained in the product. He needs to be trained in a lot of things. And I got news for you. And sorry if I'm insulting some people. Younger people, 20s, 30 years old, in their 30s, they probably don't even know how to sell. They're probably getting trained by an owner that grew up in the 60s or 70s, and that sales platform does not work any longer. Consumers are smarter. There's a lot of different things that are happening now that just you're not going you can't it's not logical to apply it the same way. You have to find out what motivates your salespeople. I tell you, I just read this book by Steve Haru called The Sales Contrarian, and he was spot on. If I didn't know better, I thought I would have wrote the book. These are things Steve and I had discussed on my podcast. We've discussed it when we've met personally. And he's going around the world and around the nation doing a great job with Vistage and some other organizations, trying to convince people that the old way of selling does not work. And you have to interject some AI, you have to interject some other things, you have to stay up speed technologically. And a lot of companies just aren't doing that. They just think it's easy just to hire a sales guy and they're going to make a bunch of money. Does not work like that. So if anyone ever asks you what's Ed's sales lab like, tell them you got to talk to Ed for 30 minutes. He's not going to charge anything to talk. And I can explain to them how they can grow their business. Or maybe I can't. Maybe I tell them, look, you're doing fine. Excuse me, you're doing fine, or I can't help you. The people you have, I can't help you with. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. We were talking about self-education. I mean, what are you reading? What are you doing? You know, And listen, while I'm on this job search, I'm learning all kinds of things. I'm at this computer all day, and it drives me nuts because I'm not a type of sit at the computer all day. I'm trying to read, I'm trying to listen, I'm trying to watch videos, I'm trying to do everything I can to get smarter. And I am. I mean, I'm getting better with, technology. I'm getting better with all these things, but it's hard to explain on a resume that one of the things that boots me out a lot is I don't have a bachelor's degree. Now, when we were kids, college was not a priority. You went and got a job first. Some kids went to college, but most kids didn't. It's the other way around now. Everybody goes to college now, but the degrees are worthless. If I'm going to be in sales and I've taken underwater basket weaving or oceanography or something, what is the love of these bachelor degree? I've asked AI, I've asked other people. I can never get a good answer of why I have to have a bachelor's degree to be in sales when I've been working for 30, 40 years. I mean, most of this stuff is just second nature to me. I don't have to think about it. No one could, there's a new thing on LinkedIn that'll come up and are you a certified salesperson? What the hell is that? How do you get certified in sales? You know how you get certified in sales? You sell for 35 years. That's how you get certified. You've met every kind of person you've ever met in your life. You've sold multiple different products, whether service related or whether tangible products, and that's how you get certified in sales. So look, I'm not going to go much longer on this podcast because what I really want to do is hopefully get this out on social media so people can see what I'm trying to do and try to get this networking group together that we can help each other get back to work. I still have kids at home. I need to get back to work. Um, like I said, the economy is what the economy is. If I had a job and I was making what I used to make, I'd be fine. Um, but try to find that is really, frustrating me. And I sound like a dope a little bit when I'm talking here because I don't know what to do. I'm not a professional job seeker. Never have done that in my life. It used to be every job I ever had just about I got because I knew somebody. They said, "Oh man, you got to hire Ed. He can kill it doing what you're doing." And I went to work for them and did great. We made a decision right before COVID, not knowing COVID was going to happen. And I had two jobs at the time, and they both were flourishing, and they would have continued to flourish. Yet COVID happened, and both jobs were people related. They were groups of people related. And then the people that did survive that got a PPP loan or whatever they got were paying nothing. They weren't hiring anybody because they were trying to hold on to all their cash. Some guys succeeded, some guys didn't. I think that I don't know what the consensus is of what COVID did to business, but we know some of these very wealthy people, like our governor, got hundreds of thousands of dollars to keep his business going. And I didn't know how to do the pay. I couldn't. I didn't own a business at the time. The people that owned the businesses were not getting, PPP loans to keep me on for sure. So look, I'm praying for you guys. And girls, I know you're out there. I know you're grinding. I know how smart you are. I've met so many of you out there, and I know how good you are at what you do. Are you better than the people that are hiring? I'm going to say yes, you are. You have more experience. Because you're getting kicked out like me because you're either overqualified or you're too old, or what a bullshit thing to say I'm too old. Pete Carroll just got hired for the Raiders, and he's 79 years old, for Christ's sake. We're not too old. I got news for you. We're not the 60-year-olds of 30 years ago. It's not like that. I have there was on one of this job that I applied for today, there was um, a lifting requirement of 50 pounds, which is nothing. 50 pounds. I mean, I've been lifting weights for years. 50 pounds is nothing. I could do it all day, just about. But when you put your age in there and they go, oh, 63, man, it's almost 63. How the hell is he going to lift 50 pounds? Well, I can. But what am I supposed to do? I can't. I have no one to tell at the company that, hey, I can do this. I can lift you over my head. Um, so like I said, I know this is kind of a shitty podcast. I'm trying to be articulate and I'm trying to be upbeat. But I'm frustrated. And I know a lot of you are too. So listen, reach out to me. You can reach out to me through social media. Excuse me. You can email me at edfranklin.nolimits@gmail.com. You can go to my website. My phone number's all over the place. if you want to be part of this networking group, I've got a couple people already that are interested, and it's going to happen quick. I mean, it's going to be like Monday or Tuesday. We're getting on the phone. I would do it this weekend, but I don't know if they would. So the people that are interested, we need to align ourselves and help each other out. You know stuff I don't know, and that's what I love about people. And I know things you don't know. So or people you don't know. You never know what's up. So listen, thank you for listening. I promise a better upbeat podcast next week. And let's just keep grinding. And if you guys know anybody or I can get introduced to somebody that might be able to help me in my plight here, I would appreciate it. Um, remember, if you're at my YouTube channel, please subscribe. And I appreciate you listening. And I will hopefully talk to all of you soon. Have a great weekend.